Oh, it's about 9 o'clock in the morning. I was up until 5 trying to get this production done for this beat battle, baby. Yeah, the ReCycle challenge. And I realised the deadline's today, the 16th, and there I am last night, about 10 o'clock last night, and decided that would be a good time to now do it. I'm always the kind of guy who leaves things to the last minute. So of course, when I was producing, making it, I used a particular type of headphones. Perhaps I used monitor headphones like these. But the task comes now to actually listen to it with consumer-based headphones. So I'm going to listen to it through these Manhattan clones from Lidl's, because they're more consumer-based. Basically, I want to hear what it sounds like. And also, last night I was actually going to upload it, because I thought it was ready to be uploaded. And as I was uploading to SoundCloud, or trying to upload to SoundCloud, I had a quick check of it to hear how it sounded. And there's a few mistakes in there, but I was just going to try and post it anyway. But anyway, SoundCloud had issues. It wouldn't accept the WAV file. It wouldn't accept my MP3 file. But let's stop yapping and take a listen.
I haven't met this one, but that's starting now to annoy me. True. But I didn't just think, fuck it. You know,
you move easily.
Just be so damn petty.
Just
be so damn petty.
So here we are, right at the start. Straight out of ReCycle. I did edit it a little bit in ReCycle, kind of messed it up and got the BPM completely wrong. So I'll fix that later on by copying the MIDI over from a different Dr. X loop to get it in time, and also completely change it from the original pattern or original arrangement, which will get the general vibe of the track. So we're at the beginning, literally just dragged the Rex file from ReCycle with minimal editing and messing up the BPM. So it's registered as 195 BPM, and I couldn't work out how to fix that. But yeah, let's jump forward. So I thought I'd lay down some drums kind of on their own. Kind of didn't really work, so we'll cancel that idea in a minute. But next up, load up the object for a kind of, I don't know, what do you call that? Kind of pluck instrument, which kind of plays through the whole entire track. Let's lay something down with that. Yes, it sounds awful right now. Just trying to get some sort of melodic going, maybe some sort of pattern. It sounds a bit naff right now. So the original ReCycle Rex was completely out of time because of that BPM issue, so what I did is I loaded up this extra Dr. Rex and then copied this MIDI over to that ReCycle loop. So after that, it's time to arrange these, and what I don't want like the notes going up the keys like that. I just want to choose some of the sounds and then arrange the MIDI so it's more, you know, just less complicated. So I find a nice hat, find a nice kick in the loop, and then just use that. So this is what we end up with, and kind of end up with that sort of like marching band. Sort of a marching band kind of aspect with the copying the MIDI here where my hand is. So basically copy some MIDI notes here to create a sort of like marching band kind of. Yeah. So now I put some obvious effects on, which is going to be a scream on tube setting to make them drums slap. It sounds a bit too dry for me, so get some distortion on there. Oh yeah, instant banger. Time to load up a sound. Next up it's time to load up a NM19 because I just want to use some of the basic stock sounds which I really like, and then use a chord and scales and chord to basically create a nice melodic and not worry too much. So keep it nice and key for us. Repeating something that I used before and it sounded pretty good. Real simple idea, it kind of worked. So let's load up the scale and chords and a basic NM19 preset. Record something. Sounds pretty good. So next up I've got to duplicate this, and I'm going to add this, whatever that is, F for foreign, I can't even read it, that instrument, wherever that's supposed to be, and then have strings on the other side using the same MIDI, same devices, and pan them left and right. So next up it's time to load up a bass, or try to load up a bass, and kind of didn't really work, but this ends up being a melodic element from the Europa. Kind of ends up being a texture rather than a bass. Get an EQ on there, take out the low end, because this isn't going to end up being our bass. It is not going to end up being our bass. Let's find something else for that. Maybe the monotone. Let's have a look. Turns out this polytone element becomes one of the main melodics of the whole entire tune, plays pretty much throughout the whole thing, and starts out this kind of, well, polytone brass kind of preset, but we put some distortion on there and some other stuff, and it becomes more like a guitar than brass, electric guitar. That's not until later though. What else do we add? Let's go. trims and horns preset here. Copied some MIDI over from the bass, or was supposed to be the bass. So this horns preset has a kind of bassy element to it, but later on we'll add a sub bass on top. Some duplication here of the loop we've got. That sounds pretty good. So what we do is we will jam now to that. Just freestyling a bass line with our combinator horns preset. So yeah, I went on for quite a while with that. You can jump forward. So obviously I won't keep all of this, I'm just doing as much as I can, create some variation, and then I'll pick and choose what I want later. So I'll try and do a little bit of basic arrangement here. Added some EQ, modulation and reverb to that. Object preset. Like a little melodic that plays throughout. It's time to take some elements out and mute and solo just to see how things play together. Do some basic mixing. Okay, so let's have a look. So just trying to pan elements and doing some basic mixing. I don't have time to do everything I'd want to do in a project like this. We're trying to rush this project within a couple of hours, get uploaded because we're on the deadline, which is, well, now. So I'm not able to be as precise and as in-depth and as complex as I want to be. Normally there'll be lots of layering, dry, wet signals and different elements and stuff, but this is really trying to get this done as quick as possible, but still sound kind of banging, So I'm doing this layers thing here. Layers instrument, trying to get some sort of sound to go along with those strings. So obviously we have the strings and the other element, which I can't remember the name of, whether that's supposed to be pan left and right, and I want something sitting in the middle. So I'm just going to copy the MIDI over to this layers device using Breathe Bell's preset. So here we are. Next segment is to create arrangements. We're going a bit further on, and we're going to create some modulation for the polytone. So basically, it's not playing all the time. So I want it to come in and out, basically. I find reasons MIDI modulation out here to be slightly fiddly and so this long sort of note that plays at the end, sort of drawn out, and then also coming up at this segment here, have those strings on the other element, I can't remember the name of the instrument, that are pan left and right, have a one note that just stays as a sort of prune, or as a sort of drop before the beat kicks in. So it's modulating some reverb for the drums. So I've done this sort of thing before where I've used modulation to create sort of effects on the drums. However, I'm rushing here, as I've said already, to try and get this done, so it didn't quite end up as, well, as good as what I've done previously, but no time to fix it now. Basically, this project, I'm just picking all the things that I liked that I've done in the last couple of years, which I knew that were kind of fast and had, you know, a good sound to it. So this tune, while it was made brand new, it does kind of feature other elements or effects and sounds I've used before, because I'm trying to rush, basically. I'm just sticking with what I know that works for me, of course. Yeah, so I was fiddling around to try and get that to work with the reverb there with the drums. So that's the best I could do for there. So it was time to duplicate the effect on another track, so it's not affecting the drums all the time. Just for that big crash. So this is where we start to think about turning that combinator brass into a guitar. So I want this guitar to kind of sit in the middle, so I'm just using this widening tool to basically wind it up, and then I'll put a distortion on it. So they create some modulation for this mixer inside this horns preset, so it doesn't play all the time, and instead fades in. So yeah, that brings us to the sort of end of this looking at how it was made segment. Let's open the project up as it is now and talk about how I might have to fix it, what I can do, running out of time, as I keep saying. So, you know, I might have to just settle just for imperfection. But let's go, let's load it up.